There's another chair.
No. You sit.
You want the smanda?
No, I can't.
Oh, it's a daddy battle.
I'll stand behind the boys here.
Hi everybody, how was your dinner?
Fabulous. I can't remember what was it called? El Camino?
Yeah.
Not the accent, but yeah,
This is across the street to Chelsea
Hotel.
Yeah.
Very good choice. Akiote, that's it, is it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to ask a question. Well, I want to ask many questions, but here's another chair. You can sit there, Alex. This Harry, first of all. So this is, I mean, first of all, let's hear it again for what a beautiful film it is. Thank you very much. So it's based on a book by Adam Mars-Jones, who's actually Adam Mars-Jones fans tonight, who was a film critic for The Observer. And I'm really, a couple of things. I'm intrigued about how it came to you, why you decide, because it's quite different, the narrative of this film is quite different from the novel. I mean, why you made those decisions to change those things. And also I heard that you had other sort of versions of your script, but within a different time setting, and can you just tell us about that and how you came back to this one?
Yeah, I was sent the book in the pandemic. It was like the first week of the pandemic, and everyone was like freaking out about how to, live / make a living. And
who sent it to you?
I was sent it by a woman called Evie Yates, who's the head of film at the BBC, and she just sent it with a note being like, "I think you'll like this." And obviously, then when I read the book, I was like, well, clearly the head of the BBC thinks I'm sort of filthy character, which I didn't mind, which I took it as a compliment. But I did love it, so she was right, and I think that the book is a very different beast, and it's set in the 70s, and part of what really intrigues me about Ray's character was that the mystery of him and his lack of backstory wasn't easily explained through kind of socio-political pressures. So reading it in the 70s, I was like, well, my mind instantly went to, oh, this guy's in the closet and he's got a sort of a hidden family, and I like the idea that he might just withhold his identity as part of an erotic game rather than any kind of thing like being closeted. And so that was behind, that was the reason behind one of the main changes, which was moving it up into the present. But then in terms of what you talked about, putting it in other scenarios.
Yeah, what were they?
I think I'm just sort of like a panicky guy. So one was ancient Rome. There was a draft in ancient Rome, which was very hot. So it was like, I think my producer said it's sort of, it's a little bit too porno, and then there was another.
Can you be a little too?
Well, yeah. Actually, it's unfair to my producers. They were always very keen on the porno elements, but maybe I got kind of carried away with the wrestling. I think there was like a 40-page wrestling scene rather than. And then the next draft was set on a cruise ship, an all-inclusive cruise ship, and I like
in present time.
Yeah, present time. And there's something interesting that, but then I discovered that you have to pay £1 million to a ship a year before you shoot in order to even get the license to shoot on a ship, and it's obviously a tiny budget film. So reluctantly I sort of was like, well, where's cheap and Bromley in England?
So that was what nailed it, Bromley's.
That's the slogan of the town. Bromley, it's cheap.
And Ray dies in the novel, right?
Yeah, he it's worth reading the book actually for people who haven't, because it's super different. But
anyone read books and so yes. Bravo.
Close your eyes if you don't want to, hear how the book ends. But Ray dies halfway through the book in a bike accident, and I thought, I was like, I feel like it's kind of a common trope in particularly queer films that the romance is shafted by someone dying, and
yes.
I was
gay death is
what's it called? Bury the gays, and I wanted to do something different.
And we couldn't kill Alex.
Could kill him?
No, we couldn't.
Well.
Harry and Alex, I'm really intrigued about when you first met, the first time you actually, did you meet before this film, or was it just, like, tell us the first time you laid eyes on each other?
Oh, I'll tell you. It was 48 hours before our first day of principal photography. Or actually, these guys, they shot a week of the family stuff. I was on a different production in Canada, so I came in a week late. And we met on the Saturday, and our scenes were supposed to start Monday to rehearse the wrestling scene.
Wow.
So that was the first time we met.
Literally the first day.
Yeah, but great way to get to know someone, like to kind of just like shake hands and then take your clothes off and start wrestling. But yeah, we hadn't even spoken prior to that. It was, why hadn't we?
No, I think it was really good though that we didn't, right? Because if we had maybe, and there was something quite lovely about when you start making a move and you don't quite know what the other person's going to do.
Yeah.
And you're working it out as you actually do it, as opposed to sort of coming up with these grand ideas and then realising that you can't actually achieve them on the day. So, and certainly from Colin's perspective, he's always second guessing where Ray is, what he wants, how to satisfy him.
So is that an intentional thing that you did as an actor?
I know is the answer, but actually in hindsight it was a very happy accident that we didn't. So it meant that hopefully those moments were found.
So there's a Saturday and it's the day off from, and you go to some rehearsal room and you get into your wrestling gear and you just start wrestling.
Yeah, well, kind of going through the beats of that sequence. And I never felt like, so Harry and I had it was like a year of conversations, and between these two as well, obviously, in preparation, and I was very excited to work with this Harry. My brother worked with him, and Anya worked with him on Queen's Gambit. So I knew that he was a lovely man, and I'd seen Pale Blue Eyes and Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and thought he was a fantastic actor. So I was excited about it, but kind of like Harry was saying, I didn't feel the need. So much of the relationship, the dynamic is kind of a discovery, and I didn't feel the need to sit down and like over-analyze or intellectualize that. I was, and I'm not normally like opposed to rehearsing stuff, running lines, so like, Ray doesn't really talk, so there were no lines to run. So it wasn't like a thing that I'm always like, it just felt naturally like, well, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a great time with this guy, and I don't really feel the need to sit and talk about it over a cup of coffee about the relationship. Yes, we have to rehearse the wrestling scene because they're like specific beats, you know, but other than that, and even throughout the shoot, we didn't really talk much about like, hey, this scene we're doing on Thursday, like, what are your thoughts on it, and we kind of just did it, and I thought that was really fun and playful, and made it very, it was kind of thrilling, because I had no idea going into a scene how he interpreted that moment, how he would react, so that made it feel very alive in a way.
And I suppose what you're saying is a testament to good writing, that you don't need to have those conversations because it's there in the page.
Yeah.
So how long was the shoot?
It was 5 weeks and a day, I think, 5 weeks and 2 days. So yeah, 26
luxury.
days. Eh?
Luxury.
You think? It didn't feel like
Nowadays, yeah. And Doug, you must have played a few dads in your time. Have you?
Everyone's dad.
What was it like playing a dad of? I mean, this is it was a departure for all of you, but also in terms of like the way you play a dad who's in a dommy relationship. What was that like?
The only reason to do anything is the script, and the dad in this just loves the son, and so does the mum. And I relate to that. I've just played someone who's homophobic as a dad and hates his son, and his son is, it seems like a trope. And immediately, I just think the part is full of love. The film's full of love. It's a love story, regardless of whatever you think or whatever your biases are. So yeah, it was just someone who wants the best for his boy.
That's so nice. And it is I think that is a thing about this film. It is trope busting, and that's not a euphemism. It is sort of, there's many trope, like, even, thank you, even if, even the thing about the death and sort of films with gay people, but the sort of the homophobic parents or the parents who don't accept it, it's sort of, I don't know, it was so refreshing to see a film that's about a completely different world that's never been really told on mainstream film before, but also to contain none of those sort of boring old things that we've seen a million times. So double hats off to you for doing that. We are going to, it's about time to take some questions from the audience, I think. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. There's someone over there. And someone's coming with a microphone. Oh no, they're not. Just shout it out. Oh, they are. Yeah, there they are.
Yay, thanks. Hi. So my question is actually for all of you. I've seen that when it comes to exploring like queer stories, people always think that it's only about the sex when it's not. Queer couples also explore a different level of emotionality. So as like budding writers or creators, how can we ensure that when we're exploring a queer story like this, we can balance that emotionality, or rather highlight it more than just people thinking about, oh, it's all about the sex?
I think, I mean, for me, like a lot of it depends on the kind of sex you're portraying, right? There's a lot of like emotional weight in a certain kind of sex scene, and then maybe if someone's like having a kind of 20-second bang in a corridor, less so. But with the sex scenes in this, for instance, I think that they're the scenes in the film where actually Ray and Colin kind of communicate most directly with each other. A relationship like this one, or this specific relationship, is kind of, there's a lot of miscommunication or like withheld communication, and actually like we learn much more about Colin's inexperience or relative experience, and also like Ray's sensitivities, I think, in the sex scenes far more so than we do in the kind of the in-between. So I saw the sex scenes as an opportunity to like provide emotional weight rather than something which we needed to balance with other quote-unquote emotional scenes.
Harry or Alex, your advice for budding auteurs on sex scenes?
Yeah, keep it awkward. And I mean that. I thought it was so refreshing reading it. The fact that it was, when I started reading it, all right, so I was like, all right, BDSM, sub-dom story. And I didn't know who Harry, I hadn't seen any of his short films, so I didn't know who he was. And I think I expected it to kind of be kind of way more in your face and way more kind of like, I don't know, maybe like the old movie Cruising, like that's like, oh, it's down a dungeon and it's crazy and it's in your face and it's like
ramming it down your throat is not.
Yeah, a little bit. Ramming it down my throat. Maybe fall into the classic tropes of like kind of what you touched on earlier, or the parents being like homophobic, and then their emotional arc is like by the end they accept their son or daughter for who they are. And I just like, we've seen that so many times. It was so refreshing, the take on this, and the fact that the sex scenes, the relationship was, it was explicit and intense, but also like sweet and funny and awkward, and you can have a moment of an orgy scene next to them being like kids, playing, being silly, funny, running around, going for a swim, like be playful. Because I felt that gave depth to all the characters. And also a shout out to GBMCC, the Gay Biker Motorcycle Club in England. Most of the guys in the film are members of that club, or the London King scene, and they definitely helped shape all those sequences and kind of give them authenticity and make sure that all the characters felt like individuals and not like a homogenous group. That was really important.
It was really. I was shooting a thing in England last year whilst when the film was coming out, and you were all doing the press for it and everything. And it was so endearing to see so many times those biker guys, in the audience to Graham Norton, or at the in the photos and of all the press for it. I thought it was such a lovely thing that you all not just embraced them, but they were like along for the ride, big time, and we're really proud of their world being shown so positively. It was a really beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like it was. We were speaking about this earlier, but like of everyone we've shown the film to, they were definitely the people I was most nervous to show the film to, because you know it takes a lot of courage to, like, as an actor, as a sort of, you know, experienced actor, to put yourself out there on a film, let alone like someone who's been like, okay, this is sort of part of my life which I'm going to lend to a film, and yeah, I mean they've fortunately liked the film. They haven't been disowned from the gay community, and they now, like, we keep doing Q&As and Paul, particularly the guy who wears the pup mask, is, you know, he'll sort of pop up in the Q&A and then suddenly he's on stage answering the questions, and it's like it's amazing. I love it.
The star is born. Pup is born.
Yeah, and he's like online 24/7. So like he'll know he's watching this right now from England for sure, and he'll be like, that question was weird, and he's so involved. And it's really, really sweet how kind of the ownership he feels is really endearing.
Yeah, if anyone slags off the film online, within a minute pulls on to you, so be warned.
All right, any more questions? Yes, hello? Person in the cap? Get your headphones out.
I think a lot of this film kind of revolves around escapism from reality, and I would love to know, like, for you all, what do you do to kind of escape your reality?
Interesting.
Work constantly, escaping the characters, like, so I have to deal with my own personal life.
I genuinely watch The Traitors. That is my answer. Like, reality TV is my escape.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I actually, I mean, I've never told you that I applied to be on The Traitors, the UK version.
Did you really?
Yeah,
you did get on.
Season 2, and I didn't even get an email back. So, the ship has sailed, I think. But
what a bitch. That Claudia is. What about you? She's not really, she's lovely. What about you, Harry?
To escape, jeez. I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know, you kind of escape in the work a lot. Stealing Alex's answer, you know, playing people that.
We also do a lot of hard drugs.
That's pretty escapist, yeah. Yeah, work. I guess you're always escaping into different people and working out how they might operate. So I think that very much is very, you know, that's a huge part of me escaping maybe my own version of reality or whatever. Yeah.
Doug?
Yeah, there's a lot to escape, I think. I spent a lot of days thinking, don't go to bed with the phone on, don't read any more of that news, don't do this. So, yeah, I think a lot about, a lot of times. I paint a lot, and I play a lot of music, I think, is what I do, and watch Traitors.
I'm detecting a theme here. Anyone else?
Right here.
Okay, very brusque person and demanding. Is that you? Yes, with his 2 thumbs up. You just shout.
Clearly a dom.
Yes.
Coffee bottom.
Oh. They're the scariest.
I was curious if you think it's just a happy coincidence that your film lands at the same time of heated rivalry, or do you think it's something in the culture, which I haven't seen, because this is more my milieu, shall we say. But do you think it's something that the culture and the time has sort of demanding something different? Or is it just a coincidence?
I love the way you say milieu. That was dynamite. I don't know. I think also it's Heat Rivalry hasn't come out in the UK yet, so I haven't been able to see it. So I can't really. I mean, I know it's all the rage. I think, like, it seemed to me 3 years ago there was a sort of fairly common discussion around, like, sex in film and TV, and people talking about how, like, the younger generation don't want to see sex in TV, which sort of seemed like such a sort of non-point to me. So maybe there's something in films which kind of explore sex in all its variety in quite a bold way. Maybe. But I said, you know, I don't think it's necessarily, like, written in the stars that this film has come out at the same time as Heat Rivalry. But I mean, I'm talking out my arse because I haven't seen it. So maybe one of you can.
Well, I haven't seen it either, being a fellow UK person. So I just think it's great that these kind of stories exist and can be accessed by people, but I can't speak on Heated Rivalry, sadly.
Can I just say, I have seen Heated Rivalry, and it's very good, very good. Again, does something that is unexpected in the way this film does. It makes something that is a lot to do with sex and sort of hot hockey boys fucking, but it's also very tender. It manages to be very tender as well. But it's a completely different. But I think the thing that you're referring to is the fact that right now in our culture, with the fact that queer people and trans people are being so persecuted, well, not just all of us are being persecuted, but that these stories, these very queer stories, are suddenly popping up. There's Heated Rivalry, there's the boy in Stranger Things who came out. There seems to be big sort of things, and it seems like it can seem like it's this, it's because repressive government that these pieces of art are all kind of coming out right now in reaction to that. I don't think that's the case. First of all, Heated Rivalry was made in Canada. None of the money that went into making it came from this country, because everyone's too scared to make queer stories here. The thing I was talking about, sorry, I'm on a rant. The thing I was talking about that I shot in London is the new Russell T Davies series. The last time, It's a Sin, it was co-produced with HBO. There's no American money in this new one. It will be bought, it will be acquired in the way that HBO acquired Heated Rivalry, but they weren't putting any money into that kind of queer stories because they're scared, like we're all scared. And so I think it would be easy and foolish to think that amazing films like this that celebrate the queerness and all sorts of, the intricacies of that means that things are going really well. There are actually less queer people and trans people on our screens than there were a year ago. There have been many shows cancelled in the last year and a half that have queer and trans characters. And there's actually, I'm also going to pitch you, there's a thing called the Necessary Foundation, which is necessary because it's about, and Adam Goldman, who started it, is here tonight, it's about trying to raise money to give grants to young queer writers and filmmakers to ensure that our voices and our stories are told in the future. Because right now it is a fucking nightmare to get anything with a queer storyline made. And it's a testament to something I never thought I was going to say tonight, the British government, actually. That this film exists because it was made through public funding and the lottery things and stuff like that. That kind of thing can still happen in Europe, but it won't happen, it's not happening here right now, and it is a sad, and we've got to make sure that young queer filmmakers have the potential to actually tell their stories. So please go to the necessaryfoundation.com. Is it, Adam? Org. necessaryfoundation.org. Yes.
Oh, I was just saying 5 minutes.
Oh, that was 5 minutes, okay. Yeah, so there we are. Person waving up there.
Hello. I was wondering if it was hard having two Harrys on set. So, no, I'm kidding. That's not my question. Lighten the mood. I was wondering if I forgot.
Was it hard?
No, I'm sorry, no. My question was for Alexander, but it could be actually for either Harry. Do you think there's a discrepancy between a dom and a diva? And if you do, what is that?
Who wants to take that one?
Can I answer the first question instead?
Yes, please.
Yeah, it was very confusing with the two Harrys. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a diva and a dom? The discrepancy between the two?
What do you think? Because you've obviously got some opinions about this. I'll give her the mic back.
No one else is gonna try?
You better take this for the team.
I mean, a dom is this, powerhouse. We assert some kind of control, right? And then a diva is just someone having a tantrum, and I kind of, while watching, feel like they're the same thing.
I feel like, to take you up on this, I feel like actually, the kind of tantrum propensity of a diva is not necessarily similar to being, because, you know, like part of being a sort of successful dom, I think, is about controlling the environment and always being the one who has the kind of the power in the situation. And you know, like Mariah Carey, who I love, like, you know, chucking a pair of scissors at her assistant, or that kind of diva-ish behaviour is kind of antithetical to being a dom, because it's like someone losing control of a situation. Food for thought.
Thanks so much.
And I think playing the character of Ray, it was also, I try to instill a level of, yes, he's in control, but I also felt like for an hour and 40 minutes to see him just constantly in control won't be interesting. So it was important to find, not that he would lose control and turn into a full diva, but to feel the inner diva at times almost coming out to the surface, like the insecurities, because I felt like that could add some nerve to the relationship, so it's not constantly him just like bossing Colin around. I felt that playing that note over and over again won't be interesting, so you want to feel, you will hopefully want the audience to feel like maybe you're oscillating between like, I'm rooting for these guys, or no, I don't think it's going to work out. This is right for Colin, this isn't right for Colin. Is this exactly what Ray wants, or does he want something else? I think that ambiguity is quite interesting to kind of explore in the film. So I think I wanted to hold on to that at least. So just a little sprinkling of diva there, maybe.
I saw it. Yes, time for a couple more questions. This person, yes, you, that's it. Just shout. There's a mic coming to you.
Hello. So we see Colin's character very sort of naive and innocent at the beginning, being introduced to this sort of new world. I'm curious about the choice to make the dom-sub dynamic that they were engaging in sort of more extreme and sort of, as opposed to some of the other dynamics that we saw among the rest of the group. I'm curious about the choice to do that. I don't know, I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure if it was your choice or not.
No, it is from the book. It's a very strict dom-sub relationship in the book, and I think you know, both Ray in the book and Ray in the film is someone who's, to my mind at least, has like made certain sacrifices in order to like live by the kind of romantic model which he finds satisfying, and that's a very like uncompromising one. It's one which he like is unwilling to kind of negotiate about, and you know, to that end it seemed like the stricter the better. Part of the kind of, you know, the journey's a kind of annoying word for it, but the part of the sort of progression of the film is like Colin discovering that there's certain things which actually don't give him satisfaction from this relationship, and then starting to push up against Ray's kind of hard boundaries, and you know, in that instance, Ray maybe starts to wobble some of his kind of ways of being. But yeah, I've sort of wanted it to be as strict as possible, so that there wasn't any obvious way in which Colin would get like respite from Ray's hardness.
Can I ask a question? I'd like to do it in a quick fire round. What is because you've been promoting this film in various places for a long, like about a year, since Cannes, was it? It was Cannes, so that's last May. It's on, I mean, getting on for a year. What is the most annoying question you get asked?
What was it like working with an intimacy coordinator?
Harry?
I was going to say the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Could you think of another one? Yeah. Were you in Harry Potter? No, that's annoying.
Alex? Most annoying question, least favourite question to be asked, that you've been asked a lot.
This is not a question, it's a statement, but it was at the Zurich screening at the Zurich Film Festival. And as Harry was about to walk out on stage, the moderator was like, I'm gonna do a really bad Swiss accent here. It's like, it played really, really well. Is that German? It played really, really well. No one laughed. And I shot Harry out on stage. That gives you the confidence you want. Perfectly, great screening. No one laughed.
Doug, do you have a least favourite thing?
No, my least favourite is nobody ever asked me a question.
Well, look, tonight's your lucky night. We've got time for one last question. It better be a good one. Okay, yes, you. Man from the Tom of Finland Foundation.
Hi, yes, I work for the Tom of Finland Foundation, so from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to all of you. This movie is going to give permission to so many people to desire. And my question is to Harry, you can pick any film, any story, why this one? What is it that you want to impact?
I mean, it's sort of, I made a couple of short films before this, and if you look, one of the short films is about a pair of twin brothers who go to a glory hole, and the other one, it's sort of actually a pretty consistent film with like, with what my kind of interest had been in a filmmaking capacity, and I think like, I've always been, I guess, like interested in sex, which sort of, or like desire, which feels like it fits somewhat outside of the kind of template which are handed down by either by parents or schools or whatever, and I've also simultaneously been interested in like films which take tones which feel like they don't fit in that world and apply them to subject matter. So when I read the book, it was like, okay, this is the kind of log line, the bit on the back of the book made it sound like it was going to be this like very intense, bruising read, and then it was like I was sort of pissing myself with laughter reading it, and also feeling very moved by it. So it was, boring answer, but I really like the book.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, and the film comes out on Friday. Please thank you for the team. Please join me in thanking Harry, Alex, and Doug.